Let's talk about Meghan Markle's newest Harper's Bazaar cover, because, my goodness, it's got people spiralling. Not because it's outrageous, not because she's dripping in diamonds, not because she's serving some maximalist couture fantasy, but because she's sitting on a simple stool, against a grey backdrop, wearing a clean black Dior jacket, with her hair brushed back and her face almost bare. Minimalism, quiet confidence, controlled simplicity, sacred understated elegance. What has the internet spinning isn't the fashion at all, it's Meghan's skin. The freckles, the brows brushed but not sculpted into submission. That soft, luminous glow that comes not from layers of makeup, but from someone who is finally, after years of vitriol, reclaiming her own image. And yet, here we are again, watching people project their own insecurities onto a woman who can literally pose with a hint of tinted balm and still be accused of sending some coded message to the world. Let's unpack that. Because Meghan's Harper's Bazaar cover isn't about pretending she's just like the rest of us. It's about confronting a media ecosystem that for years demanded she dim her light, hide her freckles, and tone down every aspect of herself so she could fit inside a royal mould that was never built to hold a biracial American woman in the first place. And now that she steps out with a natural aesthetic, people suddenly feel threatened, and they hide it behind performative discourse about authenticity culture and realness narratives. Let's go deeper. For over 2 decades, magazine covers have played this little game. Look, celebrities have flaws too. Except the celebrities chosen for these covers are the least flawed people on earth, genetically blessed. Airbrushed even when makeup-free, shot by the world's best lighting teams, and smoothed within an inch of reality. And yes, Meghan Markle is beautiful. Let's state the obvious. She is photogenic, stylish, and genetically blessed. She also takes care of herself: skincare, hydration, professional lighting, all of it. But here's the thing critics consistently refuse to acknowledge. Meghan is not participating in the "I'm just like you" culture. She's participating in the "I'm finally allowed to be myself" culture. There's a difference. One is performance, the other is liberation. But because the media has spent years framing Meghan as manipulative, strategic, conniving, calculating, people now view everything she does, even sitting on a stool, as a chess move. If she wears makeup, she's vain. If she doesn't, she's pretending to be relatable. If she looks glamorous, she's attention-seeking. If she looks natural, she's trying to play the authenticity card. If she shows freckles, she's manufacturing relatability. If she covers them, she's hiding. This is misogyny. It's racism. It's control disguised as commentary. And Meghan is tired of being controlled. The cover isn't about bravery. It's about agency. Let's address this idea floating around that going makeup-free is being marketed as some act of bravery. Is it brave for Pamela Anderson? Great. Is it brave for a Hollywood star? Sure. Is it brave for a normal woman with acne, rosacea, eczema, vitiligo, hyperpigmentation, or scars? Absolutely, because society is relentless. But Meghan's cover isn't claiming bravery. Harper's Bazaar isn't positioning her as the Joan of Arc of bare skin. She isn't preaching that makeup-free is superior. She isn't pretending this is some feminist battlefield. What she is doing is showing up. Unfiltered, but by her own definition of unfiltered. And that matters, because for years, the British tabloids, the same tabloids who used airbrush tools on her pregnancy bump to make it look smaller, the same tabloids who edited her nose, jawline and eyes to make her look harsher, have controlled her visual narrative. This Harper shoot, That's ownership, not rebellion, not performance, just reclamation. It's not that Meghan is pretending to be imperfect. She's saying perfection isn't the goal, my humanity is. And that is far more radical than a bare face. The critics love this talking point. How can Meghan talk about imperfection when she's living a picture-perfect lifestyle? Let's pause. Critics want Meghan to be relatable, but not too successful. Flawed, but not too flawed. Authentic, but not too authentic. Confident, but not too confident. It's exhausting. Meghan's lifestyle, the Loro Piana sweaters, the gorgeous kitchen, the homemade jam, isn't about selling perfection. It's about sustainability, legacy, slowing down. Building a home, something she never had when she was trapped in royal machinery. A woman making jam in her own kitchen shouldn't trigger a national security level meltdown. But when that woman is Meghan, everything she does becomes symbolically charged. Let's be clear, Meghan doesn't preach perfection. The media projects it onto her so they can tear it down. They built the pedestal. They complain she stands on it. Then they attack her for falling off it, a fall they orchestrated. It's a manipulative loop, and Meghan refuses to participate anymore. When Meghan did her conversation with Jamie Kern-Lima, barefaced, in sweats, sitting in her rocking chairs, that wasn't a performance of authenticity. That's literally who Meghan is off-camera. Ask anyone who's worked with her. People forget Meghan spent 7 years on Suits, often doing her own makeup. She's always preferred a natural base, freckles showing, minimal contour, soft gloss. This isn't a new branding moment. It's simply the version of herself she's finally allowed to present, since she's no longer forced to conform to Buckingham Palace's aesthetic expectations. The idea that this barefaced podcast moment was meant to pressure ordinary women is absurd. Meghan is not responsible for people's insecurities. She is responsible for her own truth. And this is what scares people most. Meghan is finally operating without their permission. The real issue. Our culture only accepts bare faces under conditions. We can pretend this conversation is about authenticity. We can pretend it's about empowerment. We can pretend it's about social media culture. But at its core, bare skin is only celebrated when it is perfect or close enough. If a teenage footballer with acne is mocked online, if adult women feel ashamed of stepping out with blemishes, if social media filters are now default settings, then we're not celebrating natural beauty. We're celebrating edited natural beauty. And that is exactly why Meghan gets dragged. Because she embodies effortless beauty, and people resent it. But that resentment has nothing to do with her. It has everything to do with our society's obsession with policing women's faces. Women can't win. Wear makeup? You're fake. Don't wear makeup. You're manipulative. Age? You let yourself go. Don't age? You've had work done. Every option is a trap. So, what is Meghan really saying? This Harper's Bazaar cover is Meghan saying, I'm done being defined by other people's projections. It's not a manifesto. It's not a crusade. It's not a weaponized bare face. It's simply a woman sitting comfortably in her own skin, photographed without the layers of fear, duty, and expectation she was forced to wear inside the royal family. This is the most relaxed we've ever seen her in a magazine. Not because her life is perfect, not because she's pretending to be relatable, but because she's no longer performing for institutions that demanded her obedience. She's performing for herself. The people who say Meghan's bare face is a humble brag are telling on themselves. they're projecting jealousy, resentment, insecurity, and decades of internalized beauty standards onto the easiest target. Let's get real. If another woman's confidence bothers you, if another woman's skin bothers you, if another woman's peace threatens you, the problem isn't the woman. The problem is you. Meghan doesn't owe the public her flaws. She doesn't owe anyone her insecurities. She doesn't owe the world a breakdown to appear relatable. She deserves the freedom to exist without the constant demand for self-sacrifice. In the end, it's not about the makeup at all. What Meghan really did on that Harper's Bazaar cover was hold up a mirror not to herself but to society. And society didn't like the reflection, because it forced people to examine, why do we only praise bare skin when it fits a narrow definition of beauty? Why do we police women's appearances like it's a civic duty? Why do we demand vulnerability while punishing the women who share it? Why do we resent women who have peace? Why do we specifically target women who dare to carve out space outside the systems that tried to break them? Meghan's cover didn't create these questions, but it certainly exposed them clearly, calmly, beautifully now. The conclusion: Meghan is redefining what unfiltered means. In a world obsessed with branding, Meghan is doing something quietly radical. She is choosing herself, her pace, her space, her body, her voice, her image, her narrative. That is the real story. Not the makeup, not the freckles, not the Dior jacket, not the stool. It's the fact that after years of being told who she is, how she should look, and how she should exist, Meghan Markle is finally audaciously showing up as herself. And that, whether the critics like it or not, is the one thing they can't control.